Hello, winners. Are you ready to talk about some toxic positivity today? Have you ever been told, just get over it? My favorite phrase I used to say is, suck it up, buttercup. At the end of the day, toxic positivity can drive more harm than it can drive good. And so I'm coming to you guys today because I want to help you identify toxic positivity. Then I want you to be able to reframe it so that you don't fall into the traps that I have fallen into over the past 2 years. What we're going to do tonight is a steak dinner full of breakthrough tools, concepts, gems, and perspectives that will change how you see positivity. I want to be clear here. I'm not saying positivity is toxic. I'm saying there's another side of the coin from what let me see here. Sean Archer would call positive genius. There's the other side of the coin called toxic positivity. This is one thing we must get, is that for everything that God created, he's a creator, the devil can come and pervert. And he has done this with toxic positivity in ways that I never even realized. And so if you're joining in today, please say hi, drop a comment. Let me tell you the importance of you really engaging in anybody's lives, mine or anybody else. Every time you leave a comment, you like, a post, it pushes it out to more people. So if you think that there are people out there who need to learn how to identify toxic positivity and how to grow above it, then please share your comments. Put real life situations in the comments. Ask your questions, because I'm going to look in these comments and I'm going to answer them as we go along. Now, whenever I get to 7 pages worth of notes, and let me tell you, I want to just share with you my process of creating these lives. My process of creating these lives start first with prayer. Then me and God talk about a ton of topics, and then God starts downloading stuff to me. After I get the God download, then I do the Brenda download. How has this impacted me? What has this been in my life? How has it shown up? And then after I do the Brenda download, then I do the research. And I use every single tool out there is to research, so that when I come to you, I'm not coming to you with some chat GPT, show notes. I'm coming to you with a God download to Brenda, to you, and I hope it's beneficial. And so when we get into this toxic positivity, good vibes only, no negativity over here, it can become harmful when people don't get the opportunity to express themselves authentically and vulnerably. Oftentimes, I am a very authentic person, but I've learned that lately I've wanted to go into my shell, because not everybody in my circle can really support me when I'm going through a hard time and a hard space. And so this whole concept started last year in 2024. I went through some really horrific stuff on a relational level, and it was hard for me to process. I was trying to learn how to have an open heart and to navigate all of the things that life throws at you. And it was very different than what I've been in the past, because Brenda of old, Brenda 2022, black and white, it is what it is, and it ain't no other way. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. What don't you understand? You know, and I grew into a more open heart, to be more compassionate, more loving, more caring, more thoughtful with people. I was like a toddler operating in that capacity. Now, some of you guys say, oh, you've always been loving and caring and kind with me. I'm talking about on a personal level. There is a version of me that my clients get, because my clients pay for me to be their advocate to win. They pay for me to be their perspective changer. They pay for me to be their empowerer to live the life they want. But on the friend side, and this is what I tell every person who wants to be my friend after a coaching journey, they're like, oh, I want to be your friend. Yeah, you want to be my friend because I'm all positive, upbeat, happy, because I got to do that for 75 minutes while I'm working for you. But when you're my friend and I talk to you after 9 o'clock, you get the raw, uncut version of Brenda. The Brenda who leaves tears on her pillow at night. The Brenda who is struggling through, how do I get my entire team to all get in alignment, which isn't a big deal now. I mean, my team, this was a couple of years ago. My team runs like a Swiss watch now. But when you're going through the growing pains of growth and thriving, you hit walls. Has anybody out there hit a wall when you're going after big God-sized goals? Has anybody out there had death hit you while you're on the road to your destiny? Has anybody out there had a wife or a husband just walk out and say, I don't love you no more? Has anybody experienced a deep, heart-wrenching pain? If you have probably experienced some toxic positivity from your friend group or even your family. And the reason why I say that, is because I know, and let me say this, people who have practiced toxic positivity, they had good intentions. I didn't even know what this was until last year, when I was going through a really hard space in my heart, and I was reaching out to who I thought were my prayer warriors and my friends. They all just couldn't support me on this level of pain. And, I had one girlfriend tell me, I don't want to hear about it no more. And I was like, okay. Yes, we can overwhelm our friends when we're trying to process through pain. And I'm going to give you some tools. If you stay for this steak dinner of breakthrough tools, and that's why we call it a steak dinner. No, I ain't taking nobody over the cuts. I am giving you a steak dinner of breakthrough. Tools, gems, and tips so that you can navigate life better. And so I had another friend where I spent the weekend with her, and I was in a hard place. And she was like, I don't want to hear anything negative from you this weekend. And I just thought, well, let me grab my bag and go back home, because I felt like I couldn't be truly where I was at in that moment. And we're not trying to create areas of pity parties. What we're trying to create is areas where we process the pain we're going through in a healthy way with supportive people, and understand not everybody can support you on your pain level. You have friends. Look, I got friends that they my ride or dies. Honey, if I need to go and handle some business, I know who I'm gonna call. I know who I'm not. If I'm having a moment where I need to vent, and you have to be careful with this, because when you're venting, a foolish man gives full vent to his anger. Oh, when I read that in the Bible, that hurt my feelings. But if I need to vent, I know who I can call if it's a short vent. And then there's some people that I process with. Well, in the processing with some of these people, it got to the point where they were judging me, or they were cutting me off, dismissing my feelings, or telling me I had to be forced into being positive when all I wanted to do is crawl up in the fetal position and cry. Yes, you have an authentic coach in Coach BU. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that every day is sunshine. It's not. There are some days that one of my vendors took $30,000 of my money and didn't deliver what they said they was going to deliver. And I'm ready to hop in on an airplane to Colorado and have some face-to-face conversations. And they going to see angry Black woman. Because let me tell you, 30 grand lost. I mean, my business does well, but it ain't well enough to take a 30 grand loss. And when I'm in those moments, I have to catch myself, and I have to process my emotions so I don't end up in jail, because that's the coach you got. Coach BU, I'm from the south side of the kingdom. And nobody wants to see the before Christ Brenda, because she ain't no joke. She is a real deal. And those who are closest to me know that. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to study this toxic positivity. I want to really understand it. I was talking to a good friend, and I'm so blessed to have some good friends that are licensed counselors and therapists and psychologists. A couple of my friends are even psychiatrists. So a couple of my clients are psychiatrists. And so I reached out to one of them and I said, look, this is what I experienced this past weekend. What was that? And I went to her with, what's wrong with me? Because that's how it made me feel. I felt shame And I'm not a big person who feels a lot of shame. I felt guilt. I felt like I couldn't be real. I couldn't be honest, which therefore distanced that friendship. I'm going to be honest with you, because I was in a place where I was processing some things that I hadn't processed in almost 27 years. And so I'm coming to you guys in a raw, authentic, vulnerable state of sharing my raw, authentic, vulnerable states. Now, am I in that same place? No. Let me tell you, when Brenda finds that there's an issue within my heart, we go do soul surgery and we get those things handled. And I'm talking about if I got to drive to Alabama the same day, 6 o'clock in the morning, to go see someone who can help me process my stuff and drive back the same day so I can see my clients by 3 o'clock, Brenda girl gonna do that. Why? Because let me tell you, this life is too short to be miserable. And I am determined to have joy. I am determined to have happiness. And by golly, I am determined to have every single thing God said I can have. There are promises that he has given to his sons and his daughters, and I'm not going to let my mindset keep me from achieving them. And so when we start to look at toxic positivity, now I'm going to tell you now, I got 7 pages worth of notes. So y'all already know we ain't getting through all this tonight in 1 hour, but I'm going to give you all I can. And then I'll see you next week at 7:30 and give you the rest. So when we think about toxic positivity, let's first define what is it? What is toxic positivity? And I'm going to give you this definition, and then I'm going to go to the chat, and I'm going to look because I can see I got some information in the chat. And so if you're new to my channel, I am Coach BU. I don't introduce myself until we get at least 10 minutes in, because you're not really here for Brenda. You're really here so that you can get what's in it for you. And I want to make sure I deliver that every single time you hear my voice. I want to deliver you some tips, tools, and gems to help you craft a winning life. And so if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel at Coach BU. I'm trying to get my subscribership up. That's why I'm trying to come to you live. But I'm not just trying to come to you live based on what the latest trend is or what the latest gurus say is hot and popping. No, I go to my throne room and I ask God, what do we need to talk about? I go to my heart and say, what has broke my heart this week? And what has encouraged my heart this week? And then I'm going to come to you. The way you get alerts and know when I'm going live is for you to simply hit that subscribe button. So I hope that you will always tune in on Tuesdays at 3 o'clock, at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time for more tips, tools, and gems. So that's my plug and all that stuff. Let's get back to the real stuff. This is stuff I like. Okay. I wish I could just get people to show up and I didn't have to plug nothing, but I'm not to that level yet. So let me explain to you what is toxic positivity and how do you spot it? Basically, in short, toxic positivity is this. It's about forcing positivity at the expense of emotional honesty. It's that fake it till you make it concept, which I do not like, even though one of the doctors that I follow, Dr. Bruce Lipton, he loves the whole fake it till you make it thing. I don't. And the reason why I don't like fake it, and I love everything else he says, that's the only thing that I don't like that Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about is fake it till you make it. I don't like fake it till you make it because let me tell you what, I am a Christian life coach. I am a Christian business coach, and there is no deception on the spiritual realm. On the spiritual realm, the enemy is there, God is there, and the whole host of heaven is there. And on that realm, it's honesty. There is no deception. You may be able to fake it till you make it here on this earth realm, but on the spiritual realm, people know that you're really not as confident as you say you are. You're not as put together as you say you are. They just don't say anything. People know when you're not trustworthy. They just don't come and say, you a liar. So it's hard to fake it till you make it, because on the spiritual realm, which dictates everything that happens on the third dimension, which is the earth realm, there is no deception. So I'm not into that fake it till you make it. I'm one who busts through facades. Now, let me be clear. A facade is where you try to be something you're not. Shading is something where you show up for the situation. So I may be happy-go-lucky and having a great time and da-da-da-da-da, and then somebody call me and say something crazy, and I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to address they crazy real quick. And then I'm going to go back to having a good time. Okay, so that's when you're giving people different dimensions of the prism of who you are, but not faking it. There's nobody in my circle who slightly thinks that if I said something behind your back that I wouldn't say it to your face. But I've gotten to the place where I don't even want to say or think nothing or say anything negative about somebody behind their back, because I know in the spiritual realm, it puts out a frequency. Okay. And we're not talking about no new age stuff or universalism. We're talking about authenticity. We're talking about vulnerability. We're talking about being honest with yourself. When we realize that the average person lies to themselves on a regular basis, we stop getting mad about other people lying, about people lying to us, because the average person will lie to themselves. And if they'll lie to themselves, they'll lie to you. But when you get honest with you, then you can move in a different vein. You can move in a different heart. And so I want you to be clear on what toxic positivity is. It's about forcing positivity at the expense of emotional honesty. So toxic positivity is the overemphasis on maintaining a positive mindset no matter how difficult, painful, or challenging a situation is. While being optimistic can be helpful, toxic positivity goes beyond encouragement and becomes harmful when it dismisses, invalidates, and ignores genuine emotions like sadness, fear, or grief. It creates a pressure to perform. It creates a pressure to fake it till you make it. It creates a pressure to suppress what's really going on inside your heart. It creates a pressure to always look on the bright side and minimize the real struggles that people are facing in life. Somebody has lost their job this week and they got 5 kids and their wife got dementia. And they're trying to figure out, how am I going to handle all this? And then we come up and, oh, you'll get over it. Just suck it up, buttercup. You'll do fine. That ain't what they need. They need some compassion. They need some empathy. They need some understand where I'm at. They don't need your toxic positivity that's telling them just get over it, or this too shall come to pass, or it's really not as bad as it seems. There's somebody out there, at least your wife is alive and she has dementia. There's someone who lost their wife last week. How is that helping someone feel heard, feel valued, and feel seen? How does being dismissive to people's real pain help them feel really valued? I want you to think about that for a moment. So right here, I said that I was going to do an apology, because as I started researching, I said, I've done some of this from time to time, but because of my training as a coach, we are trained not to judge people. We are trained to avoid dismissing people. We're trained to hear people for where they're at. And so I want to apologize to anyone that I've ever made feel like your pain's not real, or I've dismissed you, or I've dismissed what you're going through, or I've judged you. Now, I know there's a bunch of people I've judged, because I used to be a legalistic Christian. And I know I have judged a lot of people along the way. And so I want to apologize for all of those people that I have judged, that I've made feel shameful, that I've made feel guilty, that I've made feel some kind of way. I apologize. I am a work in progress like everyone else, and I need forgiveness like everyone else. So if you've done this to anybody, go back and apologize. Oh, I got so much I want to give to you. But first, let's go to this chat. So we got Sharon. She used to come to I used to do a Bible study called Embrace His Word here at my office when I was in between church service. I used to be at Victory World Church, and I went to Victory World Church so I could just sit down and breathe. After spending many years of serving in ministry, I just needed to take a breath. And so I went to sit down at Victory World Church, and I started doing Bible studies in my office here in Duluth off of Sugarloaf, because I am raised to believe that when you serve the Lord, you go and do the good works of the Lord. So, Sharon, thank you so much for joining. Sharon used to come to those Bible studies. I miss you. I would love to break some bread with you. Hey, Vanessa. Yep, me and Vanessa was DMing today. She said, yep, that's me. So she's talking about how she has felt like people have made her shrink back, and she has not shared her real feelings because she was trying to make other people feel comfortable. So thank you so much. Let's see here. Vanessa, Mandy. Okay, this is Amanda Bell. Y'all just saw one of her. I coached Amanda on overcoming the fear of failure, I think it was. It's on my YouTube channel. And I just recently released that in June when I took a little bitty break from doing the lives. And this is Amanda Bell. Let me tell you, this woman, from the time that I first coached her for that podcast to now, she has changed her entire life. But that's not my story to tell. I'm going to let Amanda tell that story. But Amanda, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. She's over on Facebook. And Sharon, I miss those Bible studies too, honey. And if I had an in-person assistant, we would still be having those Bible studies. But those Bible studies take so much. I mean, I would cater in food. The setup, it was right after COVID. So we had to sterilize the entire conference room. And so I need an assistant to do in-house Bible studies. But let me tell you where you can catch me. You can catch me over at Free Chapel Worship over in Swanee. Sign up for the School of Discipleship. I teach phase 1 on Monday nights, and they are going to, we're off for the summer, but we'll be coming back in the fall. So you can catch me teaching a Bible study at Free Chapel Worship, School of Discipleship. So if you have questions, if you're here, please say hi. Please let me know you're here, and let's get back into it. So when we talk about toxic positivity, I've defined for you what toxic positivity is. So what we are going to move into is why toxic positivity is so harmful. The reason why toxic positivity is so harmful is because it forces people to shut down their real emotions. It forces people to silence authentic conversations. It forces people into a shameful place, making them think, well, what's wrong with me that I feel like this, that I can't be positive 24/7, 365 days a year? I remember my male friend told me one day, I think it was right after my cousin had died. He said to me, he said, Brenda, I'm gonna need you to sit with that emotion of grief for a minute and process it. Let me tell you, my male friend makes me a better woman every single day when I think about the tools and the gems that he's given me over the time that I've known him, to really stop just plowing through life and to slow down and process through life. He has been a huge contributor to that. And I want to thank him. He knows who he is. If he's watching, he often watches a lot of my lives. He knows who he is. I want to thank you for that. Thank you for helping me be a better version of Brenda. When we begin to think about why it is so harmful, it makes people check out of true emotions. We wonder why we can't get real breakthrough, because we can't get to real roots of why we do what we do. We can't get to real reasons why we act the way we act, because we're so busy putting off a positive vibe all the time that we can't even get to the place where we can get real with what we really feel. And I'm going to teach you some tools tonight that are going to give that to you. When we think about the negativity of toxic positivity, it basically is a deception to truth. If you're really sad, then you're really sad. Take a moment to process that and think about it. And so I want to share some terms that people use that create toxic positivity, dismissiveness, and then people walk away feeling like there's something wrong with them. People walk away thinking that I must not be able to just get this right. What's wrong with me? If you've ever had an experience like that, shutting down emotions have definite negative impact. And you know what? If I knew how to add you into the show, I would add you in, Antoinette. Me and her talked about this at length today. She's a reflexologist. She did her testimony today. She talked about how the stress of suppressing emotions creates joint pain and a variety. I don't remember everything she said, but it creates a variety of health issues in the body. We need to process it. And so these are some toxic statements people said. If you said one of those, say, girl, forgive me. Just write, girl, forgive me in the chat, okay? So common toxic positivity statements. Just stay positive. Good vibes only. It could be worse. Everything happens for a reason. At least you still have your wife, your car, your husband. My favorite one is, there's a single mama out there who can barely make ends meet. Be happy you at least got, a roof over your head. That is so dismissive. I ain't even gonna go there. When we make people compare themselves to other people who are worse off, the scriptures say that it is foolish for us to compare ourselves one to another. But why do we think it's okay when people are going through hard spaces in life? Why do we think it's okay to make them think about how worse off someone else can have it? It's not. And I'm gonna stop right here for a minute because I want to give some shouts out to my dear friend. I used to call her my attorney all the time, but she's gone beyond being my attorney. She is a very dear friend of mine. And I remember me and her were talking, and I busted into tears on the phone with her. And let me tell you, my attorney isn't the soft, fuzzy type. She's kind of the, we're going to take it to the wall and we're going to win this court case type. And I bursted into tears, and she said, Brenda, what's going on? And I told her what was going on. And she was like, this is how I can help you. I said, no, I don't want you to help me because you're already going through a battle with cancer. You're already going through your own legal battles. You just lost your father. You just lost, your mother is going through a hard health battle while you're going through a hard health battle, and a host of other things were just falling apart in her life. And she told me this, and it was probably one of the most compassionate, I'm about to cry. It was probably one of the most compassionate things that I had heard all of 2024 when I was going through such a hard space. She said to me, just because I'm battling for my life doesn't make the pain you're going through any less. Man, when I tell you, I felt valued, I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt validated. It was the most powerful statement said to me all of 2024. Was what that one woman said to me. Was just because I'm in a worse place than you does not mean that your pain is any less valuable. And it really messed me up, y'all. It really messed me up. And so thank you. She knows who she is. I'm not going to say her name because I have a couple of different attorneys. And so at the end of the day, when we can hear people and give them empathy and give them compassion, and we show true love. We show true love to people. Everybody wants to be loved, valued, and belong. And I want to show you how not to push people away and how to bring people in. So let's go on. So we've done 5 toxic positive statements. And like I said, if you've ever said it to someone, then say, Lord, forgive me in the comments. If anyone's ever said it to you, say, I forgive them. They knew not what they were doing. Okay, because most people who operate in toxic positivity don't even realize that there's a such thing as toxic positivity. Don't be so negative. That's another phrase. Look on the bright side. Choose happiness. Just think happy thoughts. Look, let me tell you, when your wife done walked out on you, when your husband done walked out on you after you've been married for years and you've had dreams with this person for years, and they walk out on you, for you to tell them just think happy thoughts is like a slap in the face, because a divorce is a death. And there's a grieving process when you go through divorce. And there is nothing easy about that. And I know many of you are like, well, okay, what do we do? What do we do? I'm getting to it, but let me diagnose the cancer first. Can I do a full survey of diagnosing the cancer in our souls first before we go do soul surgery to get rid of it? Okay, number 10, be grateful. It's not that bad. Number 11, other people have it worse. Stop focusing on the negative. Don't worry, just smile. Do you know how many fake smiles are walking around with tears on their pillows? I said years ago I was going to do a blog on the tears on the pillow. The tears on the pillow. Because we are walking around trying not to worry and just smiling, and we are falling apart on the inside and wondering why there's a mental health epidemic, wondering why you can do the last quarter of the year. I have several clients of mine that are psychologists, psychiatrists, and licensed therapists that I can't even pull a favor to get them in on, get some of my clients that need clinical help in to see a therapist during the last quarter of the year. So that don't worry, be happy, just smile, faking it can cause you to suppress your emotions to the point that it creates depression. Okay, I ain't even gonna go there because I'm not a licensed clinical counselor, so I'm not going to talk about depression, but I'm going to tell you what, you better get real with your emotions. Otherwise, they're going to fester in your soul. And suppressed, no, oh, sorry, that's one of my taglines. I ain't going to go there. But suppressed emotions are not good for you. 14, failure isn't an option. You'll get over it. There's always a silver lining. If you're struggling, you're not praying hard enough. Ooh, if that is a legalistic statement right there. If you're struggling, you're not praying hard enough. God said, Jesus said, red letters in the New Testament, that we will have suffering in this earth. So to tell someone that their struggles is because their prayer life isn't there is judgment. It's judgment. And be ye careful, for which you judge in another, ye yourself is guilty of. God draws us with his loving kindness. Okay. Let's see here. Vanessa is saying, now I live the word, but when people just toss you a scripture that's supposed to just make it go away, you said a whole word right there, Vanessa. A whole word. Because so many times we will put out cliches. And that's my next series. I don't know how long I'm going to do toxic positivity, but my next series is cliches that aren't true. And when we do that to people, we really do more harm than we do good. Don't beat people over the head with scripture. You're supposed to let scripture change you so that you can be the change in the earth that we all need. And so the next, 17 is, if you're struggling, you're not praying hard enough. 18, let go and let God when used to shut down feelings. Okay. This statement was recently said to me. And it was just like, let go and let God. And I thought to myself, okay. So I guess let me just put on the little fake smile and act like nothing's wrong. And that has been detrimental in that particular relationship. It has been detrimental. Number 19, positive vibes only in this space. 20, you're too blessed to be stressed. Now, these phrases in and of themselves are not necessarily innately bad. It's the context for which they are being used. When they are being used in a harmful way, it's going to shut down emotional expression. It's going to dismiss pain and discourage vulnerability. And it often makes people feel guilty for having normal human emotions. Is that what we want to do with our friends and our loved ones? Or do we want to create a safe place? Or do we really want to create a safe place where people can be fully and truly who they are, lumps, bumps, and all? Because ain't nobody always happy. And yeah, I said ain't. I meant to say ain't. Get over it. I think it's in the dictionary now. Ain't nobody happy 24/7. And if they are, I'm concerned. Because real life is happening to people. 7,427 people die every single day. That means there's 7,427 families that have lost a father, that have lost a brother, that have lost a sister, that have lost a mother. We cannot just make people shut down what their pain is so that we can feel comfortable. That's one of the most selfish things you can do. And so I hope that today we will check it and we will take these tools that you're about to get and help process what's really going on when it comes to the impact and the harm of toxic positivity. So this is the harm of toxic positivity. We talked about it denying, dismissing, and making people feel ashamed for having real emotions. It devalues the person. It blocks emotional growth. It creates shame and guilt. It encouraged surface level relationships. I cannot tell you how many times I've been in women's groups where they say, it's always so surface. Well, have you created a safe space for people to be raw and real and honest and vulnerable and not judged and not criticized and not told what you need to do? When I have ups and downs in my business, we are a six-figure coaching business. And thank you, Lord, we've been a six-figure coaching business for years. But I'm trying to get to seven figures. And that was a big part of my struggle in 2024, because I had set a goal and I didn't reach it. And I'm not used to not reaching my goals. I had set a goal to hit 1.2 million. And I was doing everything I knew how to do. And I was not reaching it. And I'm like, doggone. And the people say, well, are you on Facebook? Are you doing your social media marketing? Are you? And I'm looking at them like, have you met me? Right now, I had a meeting today with my assistant and said, we are going to have to reset my algorithm and we need to not have no scheduled posts go out for a week, because I'm not getting the engagement on the posts that I need to get. And I think it's because we overpost on some platforms and we don't post enough on other platforms. So when I go to someone and say, hey, my business isn't hitting the 1.2 mil like I want, and I'm feeling some kind of way about it, and they say, well, are you doing social media marketing? I just want to just kind of like, huh? Really? Sometimes people aren't asking you for advice. Sometimes they just need a place to be, to just be in their emotions for the moment. And sometimes that just being your emotions in the moment may be just you, the Holy Spirit, and your journal, because not everybody's a safe place to process. That's just the reality. And it's not because they don't want to be, it's just because they don't know how to be. So toxic positivity encourages surface level relationships. It silences authentic conversations. Toxic positivity isn't encouragement. It's emotional avoidance dressed in a smile. I love this. It is emotional avoidance dressed in a smile. So how does this apply to leadership? Because who I serve are usually corporate leaders. And I'm going to tell you what, if your team does not feel safe to come and talk to you, then they won't come and share with you problems within your organization. Now, it doesn't mean you need to be their therapist or you need to listen to their problems, but I do believe in sync meetings where you need to take a moment to get in sync with your staff. And I'm a big believer that a leader should not manage more than 6, max 12 people at a time. You should have another layer of management in between, if that's the case. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that have done a lot of layoffs trying to get that profit line in order. And so there's people who are managing groups of 30, and this may be hard to do. But to have a sync meeting with your team at least once a month. So, and it 20, 30-minute sync meeting, it may be a lunch where you just sit and you get into where they're at in their world. You see what they're struggling with. You give them a safe place to share. There is so much you will learn about your organization when you get with the front line folks and see what's really going on, because they can tell you who's getting ready to leave, who's sabotaging the company. But if they don't feel safe to share, if they share something with you and in the next meeting you put them on blast, then guess what? Everybody in that room just learned, don't go share nothing with her. Don't go share nothing with him. I'm going to say something to my leaders in the room that I have said to corporate leaders for years when I was in corporate and I was a director of staff development and job life skills, I would tell them that you can force compliancy, but what you cannot force is loyalty. Someone who is doing something under compliance, they're going to do exactly what you told them to do. They may see that something else needs to be done, but they won't do it because they're following the rules. Whereas loyalty, which is inspired through truth and honesty and transparency, loyalty, once that's cultivated, you'll have staff members go through the wall for you. My assistant is supposed to get off at 7 o'clock. My assistant, I hired her through an agency. Let me tell you, on Mondays, so that she can finish everything for my lives, oftentimes without me asking, she'll work to 7:30. Sometimes she'll work to 8, off the clock, so that she can make sure these lives go off well and we can invite as many people to them. And so that's loyalty. Compliancy would be, honey, it's 7 o'clock. I get off at 7. I hate that everything didn't get done, but I'll see you tomorrow. That's compliance. Loyalty is we get it done. Create safe places for your employees to share with honesty and not retribution, and you'll see your organization and you will see your departments turn around, because when you give people a place to just be who they are without ought, should, or judgment, then people will share more than you could ever with you. And that means you got to have a heart of a coach as a leader. And if you want to have a heart of a coach as a leader, then you may want to go through my coach leader certification program that I do for corporations. 9 modules on how do you really do cognitive transformational coaching, and then 9 modules on how do you keep your client retention. How do you recruit talent and keep them? How do you reduce turnover rates? How do you streamline processes? 9 modules. They get to choose from almost 27 different modules for those 9, because every corporation is different, that they need to have implemented in their organization to change the game for their corporation. That's my Coach Leader program, and that is coming out this next month. With that being said, I've done it a little bit with other corporations that have come to me, but I'm about to start promoting it, is what I should say. I'm going to start promoting it next month. But with that being said, we want to create safe places for people to talk to us. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you something. When people are talking, they're trusting. When people are sharing things with you, they're trusting you. When people stop answering your questions, something has transpired where they don't trust you anymore. Because nobody walks up to you and say, you don't feel safe for me anymore. They just draw back. So if you want true, real, authentic relationships, learn how to allow people to process and be heard without going into a pity party. When we look at toxic positivity, and now we're getting into the tools to overcome it, right? When we look at toxic positivity, this is one thing that we need to understand, is that suppressed pain creates poison in the soul, but processed pain frees the soul. Some of us need to do soul surgery. Some of us need to take a moment and say, have I just suppressed this hurt? Have I just suppressed this pain? Have I just stopped even feeling anything, where I'm just numb because I'm trying to stay positive all the time, that I don't sit with my emotions? Suppressed pain creates poison in the soul, but processed pain frees the soul. Baby girl, baby boy, I want to give you some tools today to help you process your pain, to help you process that hurt, that betrayal, that how many women out there been ghosted by some dude? How many men out there been hurt by some female? It's time to process it so that we don't bleed on the next. Okay. And so when we think about suppressed pain creates poison in the soul, how do I process it, Brenda? No one's teaching me how to process this. What do I do with that? I'm glad you asked. One of the things that I try to do every day, and it actually didn't come out of the research for this. I've been doing this for years. It was something that I read out of a book or an article that Josh Merriam, my web designer, he's awesome. Or my web support. He didn't design my last website or any website for me, but he's my web support. Say Josh Merriam. Josh sent me an email when we worked together, and he goes, I can see you being a millionaire one day. What an encouragement. Thank you so much, Josh. And it was like 28 millionaire success habits. And one of those millionaire success habits is also really good with helping you process your pain. And it's take 15 minutes to just have a hot cup of Java or a hot cup of tea, let it hug your soul, and just let your mind be free to express. Be free to just go wherever your mind want to go instead of telling it, look, we got to finish this budget. We got to get this, the sales funnel out today. We got to get prepared for the webinar. I've got to get the business meeting set. Agenda set for the team, or I've got to do the financial report for the board. Instead of telling your brain what to do, give your brain 15-20 minutes where you just have some hot tea and you just chill and you just relax and you just be in the moment. Be present in the moment and see where your thoughts take you. Another tool that's very much like that, you could have that same hot cup of tea. Thank you, Dr. Lisa Carr, my naturopathic doctor. Shout outs to her. She gave me this she actually gave me 2 beautiful teacups. And if you need a naturopathic doctor and you're in the Beaufort area, ain't nobody better than Dr. Lisa Carr. She is the bomb.com. She got this 53-year-old healthy. I don't take any prescription drugs. Okay. Sit back and reflect. What was good about the day? What challenged you in the day? There's always 2 sides of a coin. Then you can sit back and you can journal and say, okay, why am I feeling, and Vanessa said it, angry? Can I share my current cycle that I go through? I get sad, then I get mad, and then I get angry. And usually about the same thing. Whatever I got sad about, then I get mad about it, and then I get angry about it. And since I've identified that mental habit cycle in my brain, I now get gratitude, I get glad, and hold on, I'm gonna have to look it up. I put it in my phone to remind myself to do this. But I get gratitude, I get glad, and I get grounded. Because anger isn't a bad thing, it's just how you process it. And it's funny, when I coach men, they always tell me, I don't want to talk about my feelings all the time. And then they start talking to me about anger and how they blew up at their staff members, or they yelled at their teenage daughter for wearing a short 2 skirt. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that because you don't want to talk about your emotions. And anger is probably the strongest emotion out there. So when y'all say women are all emotional because we crying all the time and we all in our emotions, every time you blow up, lose your temper, cut somebody off, manipulate someone with silence, that's anger, and that's an emotion, and it's one of the strongest ones. Yes, I'm making fun of it because it's funny to me how we will categorize something as good or bad when we are all human beings dealing with those same emotions. And so we want to reflect. We want to get present in the moment. And we don't want to go into pity parties. Let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with positivity. It's only a problem with one not to process their emotions. That's when positivity becomes toxic. And so we don't want to have pity parties. You don't want to sit in a negative emotion for 2-3 weeks. You want to process it. You want to have, and so I'm going to give this to you. And Antoinette, if you're still here, or if Wahiba's on here, if you guys can put this in the chat so that people can have it, I'd greatly appreciate it. It's called, or anybody else who wants to put it in the chat for me. Emotional honesty. It's so important for you to have emotional honesty when you are processing your emotions, getting honest with where am I right now? What is this all about? Why am I feeling this? And when you get really honest with the feeling that I'm feeling right now is pain because I feel rejected, pain because I feel abandoned, then you can stop and say, where's this coming from? Is it really just this situation, or is it, or is it my past speaking to me? And so when you sit down and process your emotions, you can get honest with, is this a trigger from my past, or is this what this person is doing to me is making me feel this way? Then once you get emotionally honest, well, why am I feeling this way? What is it? I'm going to take you through some questions on here. At least I thought I was. When you get emotionally honest with yourself, okay, here it is. You can do this emotional checklist. What am I feeling right now? Why do I think I'm feeling this way? How does this emotion want to be expressed? So my sadness wants to be expressed through madness. And so I have to then hack that feeling and turn it around, because I don't want to be angry with people. I don't want to be mad with people. Mad Brenda destroys relationships. And so let me tell you something about when you get into it with your spouse, or you get into it with your mate, or you get into it with people you love and you care about. Sometimes the best thing you can do is pull back just a little bit. Not cut them off. I'm not into cutting people off. God is a relational God. But taking a moment to sit with it. I know for me, when I'm hurt, if I don't take a moment to sit with it, my sadness turns into mad, and my mad turns into angry, and my angry says some stuff that will destroy a relationship. So I will pause before I respond instead of react. And that in and of itself is a tool. And so when we're looking at processing our emotions, we must get emotionally honest with ourselves. Why am I feeling this way? Where am I at? And being clear. Self-awareness is what you need in order for you to get to the other side of emotional resilience. So we don't want to live in a pity party, but we do want to get to emotional resilience. When we can get to emotional resilience, we can then look at how we're feeling in a non-judgmental way. And this is the tool I want to give you for emotional resilience. When you get to the place where you get honest with what you're feeling, and then you turn around and you say, is this something I want to keep, or is this something what I want to change? Not this is bad, this is good, this is what's wrong with me, this is I am a fabulous person. And granted, we are all fabulous, but we all got our pluses and our minuses. And let me give you an example of that. You guys all know that I do a planner, a Brandon Burchard planner every day to help me keep my many things that I got going on in focus for the day. And one of the things that I wrote down today when I went to prepare for pull all of my research together and prepare for the live, I wrote down in here, the planner asked this question: something I realized or learned today was. And one of the things I realized or learned today, I'm not operating at my level of organization. And so I didn't judge that as, Brenda, you're distracted. Brenda, you're a bad person. Brenda, you're just screwing up. Brenda, you're just not on your game. I didn't do that, because I've trained myself not to talk to myself like I hate myself, because Brenda loves her some Brenda, and it took me a long time to get to loving me. But I did write next to it, change. It's not something that I want to keep. It's something I want to change. And that's an easy change for me. That's really just me 8 hours in here and I don't talk to anybody, and 8 hours in my office and I just get organized like I'm used to being. We will all have things that we need to change. And then we'll have things about us like people don't like my red lipstick. I do not care. I don't care. And it would have been a brighter red than this if I didn't have on a yellow top. But I don't care how people feel about my red lipstick. I don't care that people feel how people feel about me wearing wigs. That's something that other people have expressed to me they don't like. And I say, hey, you got your right to your opinion. And your negative opinion of me is none of my business. I'm going to keep tracking with who I am. I've been wearing this red lipstick since I was 13 years old, 40 years. Y'all, I like it. It works for me, right? And so that's something I keep, even though I've been criticized a lot, especially in Christendom, about it. Even with my male friends, they don't like it. But guess what? I'm still wearing my wigs and I'm still showing up with red lipstick on because you probably met me with some red lipstick on. So this is what I keep. When we look at things within our lives that we don't believe is serving us, we don't want to judge it. We want to say, do I want to keep it or do I want to change it? And then what does it take to change? So when I wrote that in my planner, that I need to change my level of organization because I've got so many things going on, I then wrote in a couple of days from now, spend 8 hours and just get organized. That's the tip. Keep or change. Now, this last one is very controversial. Somebody in Christendom is going to say something to me about it. And so I'm just going to be really 100% honest with you. When you want to argue with me about the Bible, you better have some book, chapter, verses. And so this last one is something I learned from my male friend, and it's called mindfulness. Mindfulness. Learning how to be present in the moment. And I'm going to give you guys a formula for this before I get off. Being present in the moment with mindfulness, and I'm going to say the word meditation. Now, this is not the meditation where you're chanting and everything. And if that's what you do, that's between you and your God. But I'm talking to a Christian audience, okay? And I don't disrespect other religions. God gives you the right to free will. So who am I to take it away from you? You have the free will to serve whatever God you choose to serve. And I'm going to respect you in mature love to choose that and still befriend you. But for us Christians, we shy away from mindfulness and meditation because it's very much used in other religions. But let me take you to the Bible. Can someone put in the chat, take me to the Bible? Take me to the Bible. We gonna go to the Bible, baby. Because the Bible is where I believe you get a breakthrough for life and not a Band-Aid for now, when you know how to properly apply it and to make it practical for you. So here in Psalm chapter 1, it says, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. Psalm 1:1. Now this is Psalm 2, Psalm 1:2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. Okay, that word is meditate, and it is in your Bible. That means you can do it. So my male friend is really big into meditation, real big. I mean, he's like real big into meditation. And it's funny, I've got like now 5 friends that I didn't even know was real big into meditation in my circle that have really taught me a lot about meditation. And so thank you so much, Sharon, for putting in here, take it to the Bible. And thanks again, Amanda, take me to the Bible, because this is strength. This is truth. Now, let me tell you where it says, but his delight is in the law. We often think the law, the 10 commandments, but we got to take Old Testament through the lens of the cross into the New Testament. And so the new law, and really it's not a new law, but the law of the New Testament is love God and love others as you love yourself. That means you love God first, you love yourself second, and you love others as you love yourself. So you can't love others as you love yourself if you hate yourself. Okay, that's a whole nother live on another day. But his delight is in the, you can change law to love. of the Lord, and in his love he meditates day and night. Now, First John 4:17 says, mature love or perfect love drives out fear. So if you're struggling with fear, you have not been made mature in the love of God. Let me tell you, I have been drowning in the love of God over the past year and a half, especially in the past year and a half. But this is the promise that if you will delight yourself in the love of the Lord and in his love you meditate, then this is your promise. This is a conditional promise, y'all. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that brings forth in its fruit in due season, whose leaves shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. Y'all, that's a conditional promise. I'm sorry, I can get into God's word every single day, in the morning and at night. And the reason why God tells us to do it in the morning and at night is because he knows how he wired our brains. He wired our brains that in the first 20 minutes when you wake up and in the last 5 minutes before you go to bed, your subconscious mind is what is called, according to brain scientists, as a theta state. And that's when your subconscious mind is most impressionable for programming. So you don't want to wake up. You don't want to wake up thinking about all your problems. Hey, Ann, I'm so glad you're here. You don't want to wake up thinking about your problems. You don't want to go to bed thinking about your problems, because then that means your subconscious mind is going to be feeding on it all day. So one of the best tools is for you to meditate. Get still, get quiet. For this overachieving, driving 90 miles an hour everywhere I go, this was hard. But when I tell you, it has created such a peace and such a calm in my soul to stop and process, to meditate, to be mindful, to be in the moment, to get grounded. Remember, God creates, the devil perverts. So anything God creates, the devil can pervert it. But just because the devil perverted it doesn't mean you throw the truth out. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So when we begin to look at processing our pain, I just gave you 5 ways to process your pain: emotional honesty, emotional resilience, keep or change, reflection, meditation. And this is the one that I'm going to land on. And I think I'll do the next live on changing your reality. Changing your reality. When we get to the place that we're ready to change our reality, then we're going to have to apply scripture, because scripture says that as a man thinketh, so is he. So as a man thinketh, so is he means that we literally create matter with our mind. Let me give you an example. Money. God says we don't lack money. He said, believers, we don't lack no good thing, right? So if you feel like you're in lack, you don't have what you need financially, then why is that? Because of how you think. If you go and watch Antoinette's testimony, which is on my YouTube channel at Coach BU, she talks about how one of the greatest tools she got during her 3 jumpstart coaching sessions was a money mindset shift that created such a shift in 3 coaching sessions that she had the most revenue producing week in her entire business career. And she's been in business since 2018. She had her greatest breakthrough because her mindset shifted. Then all of a sudden, everything in her life shifted with regards to money. So if we think money is evil, if we think only the rich are evil, we think you got to be it's the filthy rich, or money don't grow on trees, any of those things, you are discounting how God values money. But see, the problem with money As he says in Ecclesiastes 10:19, money is the answer to everything. I know that messed with some people. Just go read it in your Bible, Ecclesiastes 10:19. I didn't write it. Jesus did. God did. So you can fight with God about it. He put it in his word. And since God talks about money 2,475 times in the Bible, it's pretty important. He has a pretty clear view of how he wants us to handle money. And so if we have a contrary belief with regards to money being evil or filthy rich, or you got to do something illegal to get it, or you've got to be a part of the grind culture to get it, that means you don't sleep, you don't have no work-life balance or any of that, then it is going to not come to you. You're not going to see opportunities to create wealth if you think wealth is evil, filthy rich. Anybody ever said that? You are consciously telling your subconscious being rich is a filthy thing, because you're saying, oh, the filthy rich. And so many people right now in this political climate are judging rich people, but really you're jealous. You're jealous. Stop being jealous and shift your mindset. Move your money thermostat. So then you can now see opportunities all around you, because your perception of the world is what creates your reality. So we need to shift our realities. And so I'm going to spend the entire next week, and I know if my admin is watching this, she probably like, I just did all those slides and all those graphics for Mythbusters, and now she's going to do a whole nother different kind of live. Anyway, working for me, I'm going to tell you, I got more ideas than I can throw a stick at. So in order to change your reality, you first got to ask yourself, what do you want your reality to look like? What do you want your future to look like? I talk a lot about vision because vision is very important. Vision pulls us. You need to have some future vision. You need to have some future idea of where you want to be. And so one of the things in changing your reality means that you have to change it here before you can change it here. That means you need to go and have a dream party. First, you need to write out what your future you is. If Beth Buffington is watching this, honey, I just did a future you with her. And let me tell you, and I have permission to share it. She is basically a vanilla version of Brenda Underwood. And I'm probably going to see her tomorrow at a prayer meeting at 6:30 a.m. Y'all pray for me. That means I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be somewhere in Gainesville at 6:30 a.m. But we're going to do it because it's worth it. When you want something different, you got to do something different. And so changing your reality is going to require you to spend some time in the future. And I've given this formula before, but I'm going to give it to you again because I really want you to start to prepare to change your reality. Look at Ann. Ann is actually going to do some work for me to be an in-person assistant because my assistant is out of state. She's actually going to be helping me. So who knows? We may be doing an in-person Bible study soon. I just got to do the negotiation with Ann. But Ann, thank you so much for being here. And changing your reality, you need to have a dream party every day. If you want to change, I spent the last 50 years being who I've been. And if I want something in my next 50 years, and I pray that I live to 100, unless God blows the trumpet, I'm ready to go. But in the next 50 years, then I'm going to have to visualize what I want that to be. So many people are just letting, oh, whatever will be, will be. Whatever's meant for you, you're going to get. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Ask the people who died in the desert. How many of those people thought they was going in the promised land on a 3-day journey and end up dying in the desert because they couldn't because God couldn't get Egypt out of them. And God knew that you needed to get Egypt out of you before I can take you into the promise. Some of you guys need to surrender your Egypt. Some of you guys need to surrender your will to the Holy Spirit. I told the Holy Spirit, I don't want my free will no more. You just do it and I'll just show up. Because when I pick, I mess up. But when you pick, it always goes well. And so changing your reality comes down to this. I'm going to need you to spend a certain amount of time in your past, learning from your past, but you shouldn't spend no more than 5% of your time in your past. 80% of your time in your present, because in your present is where you create your future. But you're going to need to spend at least 10% of your time in the future. There's a reason why God gave us past, present, and future. He didn't give it to us so that we can keep recreating our past because that's all we focus on. If you want to change your reality, you're going to have to get a future vision of where you want to be. And then you're going to have to shift your reality by going there in your mind first and then coming into your present and creating that reality. Action debunks fear. Taking action on the things you're worried about debunks worry. If you're worried about something, take positive action to create the positive outcome you want in the present. So you're going to spend 5% of your time in your past, 80% of your time in your present, and 10% of your time in your future, so that you know what you're doing in your present, what it's supposed to produce and build. But don't be so married to your future that if he walks out on you or she walks out on you, you've lost your identity. That's a whole nother live. But I'm not in a place where I can talk about that yet. But with that being said, beloved, please put into the chat, what was your aha from this live today? What tip or tool did you get that was an epiphany for you? We've covered a lot of information, not all 7 of my pages, but I did get through all of the breakthrough tools, and I did get through what toxic positivity is. We are going to talk about positive genius next week, and positive genius is going to talk about changing your reality. Because I'm going to tell you, beloved, if you follow me on any of my social media pages, you've seen in my little notes that I've said new, new, new. That is a phrase that I used in January 2024, and I stopped using it because everything that I wanted new, only one thing came to life. I got a new body. I didn't necessarily get all the other things I wanted brand new: a new house, a new car, a new financial income bracket. We still up in the air on the new man, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, new, 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 new. And so when we think about new, we want to think about what is the new we want to create. And so because of that, I got really strategic this year about being very clear on the habits that are going to create the new that I want. So if you've gotten any tips, any tools, or anything from this live, please put it in the chat, share it with the rest of us, so that I know what really resonated with you. If you are in the position where you're ready to create a new reality for yourself, if you're ready to have somebody come alongside you and help you break through the barriers that have kept you hindered, then please go to my website, breakthroughforlife.com, and schedule a free discovery call. In that 45-minute free discovery call, we are going to craft your custom coaching journey. You're going to walk away from that with clarity. I told someone who referred a lady to me, I told her, I said, we're not going to solve any problems in your free discovery call. And the lady who referred said, Brenda Lyon, you're going to get a breakthrough in that free discovery call. You can't have a conversation with Brenda and not get a breakthrough, because she's going to say one little gem that's going to make you totally shift your whole perception on something that can change the whole trajectory of your future. And so Tammy Moore, she's the one who said that about me. Thank you. I love you, my beloved Tammy. But I want to help 1 million people transform their lives through life coaching in my lifetime. Now, I'm 53 years old, so I'm not trying to live to 120. The way that I'm able to transform lives is also through my Breakthrough for Life coaching certification program. And that academy is a coaching laboratory where I teach you how to create transformational change in the lives of people who don't look like you, think like you, believe like you, or operate with your same goals and values. We're all individuals. God kind of believes that diversity is a beautiful thing. I don't care what the government says about it. Diversity is a beautiful thing. We're not all supposed to be one way. We are supposed to be different. As much as we are the same, we are different. And so in the Breakthrough for Life Academy, the next academy is starting July 12th. And let me tell you, quick action discounts are going fast. So you want to get in on that academy if you've ever thought about becoming a certified life coach. And my certified life coaching program gives the big promise that you're going to get 2 paying clients if you do the marketing. It's not a guarantee. But if you do the marketing, you can get 2 paying clients within 60 days of graduating. That's how I fulfill the legacy of transforming 1 million lives in my lifetime through life coaching. And so I'd love for you to join that next cohort that starts July 12th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for 18 weeks. We're going to take you through how to build a business and how to create transformational change and build people in 18 weeks. And you'll walk away certified and confident. And if you don't believe so, go check out my testimonies. I got a ton of testimonies about people who have gone through my certification program. Spending time meditating with God's word in the morning and night. That was Ann's breakthrough tip. That was really powerful. I'm telling you, it has changed my life, Ann, and it'll change yours too. So Vanessa says her aha was thinking about where the feelings come from really. Oh, that is so powerful. That is so powerful, because I used to just think, well, that's just how I am. But you don't always have to be what you've always been. God says, I make all things new, and nothing is impossible for me. Then Sharon says her aha was, your negative opinion of me is none of my business. Okay, Sharon, that will knock that people pleasing right on out. If you've ever watched any of my lives, and I'm not going to talk about it long here, if you've ever watched any of my lives, I said people pleasing almost put me in a grave because I was trying to please my sister and try to please my brothers and try to fit in and not be a burden. I was rejected a lot in my childhood, and I didn't want to live. From the time that I was 0, probably about the time I was 6 years old to the time I was 18, I begged God to take me in my sleep. And then when he didn't take me in my sleep, I had 3 suicide attempts after that, where I was in a straitjacket because I was trying to make sure that everybody liked Brenda. And it almost took me out. And so I'm going to tell you, get to the place where people's negative criticism of you does not poison your view of you. And now I forgot where I was at. Oh, I was doing my call to actions. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for being here. So my call to actions. So there is the free discovery call. There is the Breakthrough for Life Coaching Academy, which is a coaching laboratory where you learn skills to create transformational change in the lives of others. Then there are my 2 one-on-one coaching programs. Yes, I do one-on-one coaching because that is, to me, where the fastest transformations take place. And in those one-on-one coaching sessions, we get in it. And when you're in a coaching journey with me, this ain't like going to see a therapist. You only get to talk to them when you're in a therapy session. No, when you get coached with me, you have access to me 24/7. I'm going to respond to you Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., but you're going to have access to me the entire time. So with that being said, when you go on a coaching journey, you're going to get support, you're going to get encouragement, and you're going to get healthy accountability, not that slap your hand accountability that I used to do in my first 2 or 3 years of coaching. And I found out that's not very effective for creating change. So I started to really learn what healthy accountability looked like. And all of my programs are set up with that. But this is the gimme. All of my programs come with a performance guarantee. So when you make that investment, and it is an investment, you may have to pull from your 401k, you may have to pull from your savings account, but I guarantee the result that you're going to get with me, or otherwise I will coach you until you get it at no additional charge. As long as you're willing to take action and eliminate excuses, get out of your usual routine, do something different so you can get something different, and be open and coachable, because the thinking that got you where you are is not the thinking that's going to take you to where you want to be. When you do those 3 things, then I can give you a performance guarantee that you will hit the coaching result that we come up with in your free discovery call. So I hope that you will schedule a discovery call. I hope that you will keep in mind the threefold cord of goal achievement, which is grit, tenacity, and resilience. Let's be emotionally resilient. Let's move forward in creating our futures the way we want them to be so that we can change our realities because we're able to change our mindset. We are able to change our futures. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. I am so thankful that you guys have come and that you have joined me. I hope that you will tune in next Tuesday at 7:30 and get some more tips, tools, and gems from this steak dinner of breakthrough tools, concepts, and ideologies. I look forward to seeing you next week. This is Coach BU signing off. Peace and love.